Hey, yo, what's the deal? That's your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I mean? As of this recording right now, it is 10:55 p.m. You know what I mean? May 12th, 2025. Fuck the Knicks. That's what I gotta say. Fuck the New York Knicks. You know, they probably might wind up, if they beat Boston, they probably might wind up winning the I was gonna say WWE Championship. They probably might wind up winning the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they might wind up going to the NBA Finals and wind up winning this fucking thing. I'm so disappointed in Boston. I am extremely pissed off at Boston. Like, you motherfuckers need to do better. You know what I mean? You motherfucker, I don't know if Game 5 is this Wednesday. You know what I mean? I think they go to Boston. You motherfuckers really need, now you gotta win 3 games. Now you gotta win 3 fucking games. You know what the fuck is Porzingis doing? What the fuck is Tatum doing? What the fuck is Pritchard doing? What the fuck y'all niggas doing, man? Anyway, I have not done this video in a while. You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna say it. Fuck the Knicks. Fuck the Knicks. But anyway, I've not done this kind of video in a while. Wrestlers who were ahead of their time. And I'm shocked I didn't bring this wrestler up. I am beyond shocked because this is hands down one of my favorite wrestlers ever. Without a shadow of a fucking doubt. Rick Rude is in my Mount Rushmore. Favorite wrestlers of all time. The thing with Rick Rude is the dude not only had a physique, right? But he had a distinct look and he had a fucking gimmick that was beyond ahead of his time, right? I remember back in the days, right? Like, we used to do that fucking strut. You know what I mean? We did that strut a lot. You know what I mean? Where he would gyrate. You know what I mean? Like, that dude was different. You know what I mean? Like, he would more than work in today's day and age. This dude would legit be, the biggest star in the fucking industry, period. You know what I mean? With how he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, with Rick Rude, he was an intercontinental champion. Right? A great fucking intercontinental champion. When you catch you with, that rude awakening, forget about it. The dude's body, no homo. The dude's body was insane. This dude was packing. That 6-pack with the abs, son. That dude was, oh man. And then the dude was savage because what the motherfucker would do, and I'm shocked that nobody's even thinking about doing this. Man, I think one person, if I'm not mistaken, I think one person did this. I think someone in AEW, I think it was Swerve, who, I don't remember, but, what Rick Rude used to do was, Rick Rude would have, he would airbrush, someone's face in his tights. Remember what he did to Jake Robinson's wife? You know what I mean? Where he airbrushed her face in his tights. That's ill. That is some ill shit. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see that too often at all. You know what I mean? And, the gyrating and stuff, would that work in today's day and age? I think it could. It could definitely work. But I think people are so sensitive. You know what I mean? People are so fucking sensitive with shit in today's day and age that, they will complain. And you got kids and shit. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you do the fucking gyrate and everything else. Come on, son. Like, it was that gimmick was fucking great. You know what I mean? Like, that shit was fucking terrific. Right now, I'm looking at Channel 7. Hold on real quick. Are they talking about the fucking Knicks? Hold on real quick. Sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, something happened in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying, with, with the death of a 16-year-old, you know what I mean? A 16-year-old got shot and killed, you know what I mean? It's fucked up. But, going back to what I was saying, the dude was ill. You know what I mean? Like, the dude was the shit. You know, he was the total package. To me, people talk about Lex Luger being the total package. No. To me, Rick Rude was the real total package. You know what I'm saying? The other thing about Rick Rude is I am shocked that he did not get a WWF title run. I am more than shocked. I'm beyond shocked. He would have been a great fucking WWF champion. You know what I mean? To me, Rick Rude is one of the greatest intercontinental champions of all fucking time. Of all time. You know, hold on real quick. Yeah, sorry about that. So, you know, going back to Rick Rude, you know, he was also, so he was somewhat of a WCW champion, somewhat. So when WCW still had their relationship with the NWA, right? He was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. You know, he wasn't really the WCW World Champion. He was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. You know, it was like this whole big controversy and stuff with him and WCW. You know what I mean? So it was, like he wasn't, you know, I always would wonder why okay, so with that controversy, you know what I'm saying? It was the NWA World Championship and the WCW International Championship. You know what I mean? So he was somewhat of a World Heavyweight Champion, somewhat, which sucks because he is World Heavyweight Champion material. You know what I mean? If there was two people in this industry that I felt got robbed of being a World Heavyweight Champion, it's him and Kurt Hennig. Those two. Him and Mr. Perfect. You know what I mean? But Rick Rude, man, you know, like, he was fucking phenomenal. I'm sorry. Like, this dude, to me, was, you know, he was ill. It's fucked up what happened to his career. You know what I mean? With Sting in that match in Japan. You know, he attempted to come back in the late 90s. Remember, he also he came back to he came back to WWE, right? He was a member of DX, and then you look at what happened with the Montreal Screwjob and such. He said, fuck WWE, I'm going right to WCW. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, he basically was, you know, he was there, right? But he was there mostly like, sort of like an enforcer. He wasn't like wrestling in the ring and such. But remember, he also made some appearances for ECW. Remember, he got involved in that storyline with the triple threat. You know what I mean? Shane Douglas, Francine, and everything. You know, yeah. You know, would he work in today's day and age with that gimmick? Yes, the fuck he would. And to me, he would be the best wrestler in the fucking game. No doubt about it. The dude didn't do no flips. You know, he did none of that shit. That dude was there to fuck you up. You know what I mean? Like, he was a brawler. That dude, those people in the Minnesota section, you know, of wrestling during that time, Minnesota at that time was a gold mine for wrestling. A gold mine. I might do a video on that. Like, what the fuck happened to the Minnesota, you know, what happened to the Minnesota wrestling scene? Because they was pumping out wrestlers left to right. You know what I mean? Especially like in the 80s and the 90s, you know. But Rick Rude, man, Rick Rude was clearly ahead of his fucking time. You know what I mean? Clearly, he was a tough motherfucker. And a lot of that toughness basically came from the Minnesota wrestling scene. A lot of people from that Minnesota wrestling scene were fucking tough. Brock Lesnar. I think about Brock fucking Lesnar. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say Tiffany Stratton. You know what I mean? But Tiffany, another person who came out who came out that scene, right? It was a lot. It was a whole lot who came out that Minnesota, you know, that Minnesota circuit, you know? And yeah, man, Rick Rude, man, rest in peace to dude, man. He is without a shadow of a fucking doubt in my Mount Rushmore pro wrestlers. You know what I mean? I'm about to be out. You know what I mean? I got work in the morning, so I'm going to definitely holler at y'all mañana. So one more time, fuck the Knicks. All right? Peace.